Highbury was the home of Joseph Chamberlain, industrialist, reforming Birmingham mayor, and controversial national and imperial politician. It was a family residence until his death in 1914. The house and its surrounding 30-acre estate form one of Birmingham's most important heritage sites. The Grade II listed house was designed by the prominent Birmingham architect John Henry Chamberlain in a Venetian Gothic style and was completed in 1879. The grounds are listed Grade II on Historic England's Register of Parks and Gardens of Special Historic Interest. In 1932, the property was given in trust to the City Council for, I quote, the benefit of the people of Birmingham. Unfortunately, over the years, the building and its gardens have gradually fallen into disrepair. The Chamberlain Highbury Trust was established in 2016 to unlock the heritage of Highbury through the careful and authentic restoration of the house and grounds. Joseph Chamberlain was born in Camberwell in London in 1836, and at the age of 18, he moved to Birmingham to join the wood screw making company of his father and his uncle John Netterfold. Promoted to partnership, his energy and business acumen contributed to the spectacular success of the company, which was soon producing 2/3 of all metal screws made in England. The hall occupies the central area of the house. It was originally furnished with informal groups of chairs and tables, which could be easily moved to enable the room to be used for entertaining the large numbers invited to the Chamberlain's receptions and dances. Joseph Chamberlain was raised in a Unitarian and politically radical family and brought up with a strong belief in helping to improve the life of the poorest members of society. The dining room, also known as the Dorothy Lloyd Room, was mainly used for entertaining in the evening. It was renamed the Dorothy Lloyd Room in February of 1985 when the house was officially reopened in the presence of Mrs. Lloyd, who was a granddaughter of Joseph Chamberlain and the daughter of Neville Chamberlain. The room is now used as a coffee lounge. In 1869, Chamberlain became a member of Birmingham Town Council, and in 1873, he was elected mayor. Under his leadership, Birmingham became the best governed city in the world. Chamberlain set up new municipal water and gas companies, which not only significantly improved the health of the population, but also generated funds for new public services. The council undertook extensive slum clearance and constructed a brand new urban boulevard called Corporation Street. His administration also built a substantial number of new schools as well as new public libraries, swimming baths, and municipal parks. Chamberlain later became one of the founders and the first chancellor of the University of Birmingham, which gained its royal charter in 1900. The library. This room was Joseph Chamberlain's library. Following the donation of the house to the city, it was opened as the Chamberlain Memorial Museum in 1934. The fine marquetry ceiling of walnut, elm, and sycamore has designs of horse chestnut and ivy leaves. The elaborate carved bookcases by William Barfield were originally made for Joseph Chamberlain's home of Southbourne in Edgbaston. They were relocated following the Chamberlains' move to Highbury. They now contain a collection of books of the type Chamberlain was known to possess, the original collection having been dispersed in 1915. In 1876, Chamberlain became a Liberal Member of Parliament for Birmingham. He served as President of the Board of Trade between 1880 and 1885. But resigned a year later, in opposition to Gladstone's Irish Home Rule Bill. His opposition led to his creating a new Liberal Unionist Party, which completely split the Liberal Party. Chamberlain served as Secretary of State for the colonies during the Second World War between 1899 and 1902. However, in 1903, he resigned from the government to campaign for tariff reform. His position gained the support of most Unionists, but resulted in a split in the Conservative Party and the defeat by a landslide in the 1906 election. This is the breakfast room, also known as the morning room. It was used by the Chamberlains as a private breakfast room. The buffet was made for Joseph Chamberlain and is decorated with his initials. Chamberlain never achieved his ambition to be Prime Minister and managed to split both of the main political parties. However, his influence on the country's political landscape was such that Winston Churchill commented that it was Chamberlain who made the weather. In 1906, Chamberlain suffered a stroke and withdrew from active political life. Highbury Hall and grounds were named after the Highbury area of London, where Chamberlain spent most of his childhood. Joseph Chamberlain was married 3 times and had 6 children. His first wife, Harriet, was the daughter of a successful Black Country iron founder named Archibald Kenrick. They had 2 children, a daughter, Beatrice, and a son, Austin. Sadly, Harriet died 2 days after giving birth to Austin in 1863. The boudoir was used by the ladies of the house as a small sitting room. It is decorated in the Adam style with a ceiling and deep cornice in flowered gesso work. The same decorative treatment is applied to the doors. The drawing room. The drawing room was used for receiving visitors in the afternoons and for entertaining guests after dinner. The room extends through a colonnade of alabaster pillars into a bay, which originally had 2 windows on either side of the doorway, giving views into the Palm House. During the First World War, Highbury was used as an auxiliary hospital. After the war, it became a treatment center for disabled ex-servicemen until 1932. That same year, Highbury was given in trust to Birmingham City Council for the general benefit of the citizens of Birmingham. The ceiling has painted motifs, inlaid panels of satinwood and walnut, and the doors are of walnut with panels of sycamore. The Chamberlains took an active interest in the gardens, which by the end of the 19th century were so extensive that they required a team of 18 gardeners to maintain. In its heyday, Highbury had a series of glass houses on the east side of the house. Constructed to house Chamberlain's celebrated orchid collection, there were 14 in 1996 and 25 in 1903. They were demolished in 1922 to make way for accommodation pavilions for convalescing soldiers. The pavilions themselves were demolished before 1940 to allow the construction of Chamberlain House, a home for elderly women. This now forms part of Ofcombe School. In a recess below the stairs, there is a brass grill for the central heating system that was installed when the house was built. In 1868, Joseph married Harriet's cousin, Florence. They had 4 children: Neville, Ida, Hilda, and Ethel. Sadly, Florence also died during childbirth in 1875. Joseph's two sons, Austin and Neville, both followed in his footsteps and entered politics. Austin led the Conservatives in the Commons in 1921-1922, and as Foreign Secretary, he negotiated the Locarno Pact in 1925, aimed at preventing war between France and Germany, for which he was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. After initially working in business, Neville was elected a Birmingham City Councillor in 1911 and was Lord Mayor between 1915 and 1917. After becoming an MP in 1918, he went on to serve as Chancellor of the Exchequer in 1923-1924 and between 1931 and 1937, and he became Prime Minister from 1937 to 1940. If you look closely at this lamp, you will notice that it looks exactly like the Chamberlain Memorial Fountain in Chamberlain Square. It's because the fountain was modeled after this lamp. The Galleried Landing, the richly decorated landing extending around the hall at first floor level, provided access to the principal bedrooms. It also functioned as an additional library and picture gallery for the Chamberlains. In 1888, Chamberlain married 24-year-old Mary Endicott, a member of a wealthy American family. Although they had no children, and despite Mary being 31 years old, younger than her husband, they enjoyed a very happy marriage. Mary's engaging personality and society connections played a significant role in supporting and enhancing Joseph's later political career. After he suffered a stroke in 1906, Mary nursed him until his death in 1914. The Carnegie Room, formerly Mrs. Chamberlain's bedroom. This is the largest of the 12 principal bedrooms of the house and has magnificent views of the gardens. It is now furnished with a suite of geometric inlaid furniture dating from the late 1970s. The room is so called because following Joseph's death in 1914, Mary Chamberlain married William Hartley Carnegie, a canon of Westminster Abbey, in 1916. Carnegie was a chaplain to the Speaker of the House of Commons, and when they got married in 1916, Mary moved to Dean's Yard, his official residence. After his death in October 1936, Mary purchased a house in Lennox Gardens, Chelsea, in London. Mr. Joseph's room. This was the sitting room of Beatrice Chamberlain. As Joseph's eldest daughter, she had the privilege of her own sitting room. The West Room. Like the other principal bedrooms on the south front, this room has good views over the former garden with its clipped yews. It was later used as a ward for 10 beds and then as a bedroom of the superintendent in charge of the home for the elderly. The Endicott bedroom. This suite of bedroom furniture was made in the United States and was the gift of Mr. and Mrs. William Crowninshield Endicott to their daughter Mary when she married Joseph Chamberlain in November 1988. The furniture is of bird's eye maple, a popular wood in the United States for high-quality furniture. It comprises a double bed, bedside table, dressing table, chest of drawers, writing table, wash table, and 2 side chairs. We have now reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please give it a like, and I shall see you in my next video. Bye!